Okay, so now, Joey, I'd like to touch on the subject of the actual artwork that goes into tattooing because, obviously it was expressed that you are a believer in Christ, you are a very devout Christian, but we know that some of the artwork has, it's had the tendency to be on the darker side. So how do you deal and combat with that, when you're working with it on a daily basis?
There's some things I won't do. Like I don't do gang stuff. I won't do gang stuff. One, because that's not my world. I don't understand it. Don't get it. Don't really want to.
Yeah.
I don't do racist stuff. Just because I don't want to put that out there.
Yeah.
I don't want to be responsible. We cover up racist stuff. We actually, we had this guy. He had a swastika on his hand.
Okay.
And neo-Nazi from prison and whatnot. But you have to join these gangs, right?
Yeah.
So we covered it up, put a rose on it for him. Good to go, so he could get a job, and we did that for free.
Okay.
That's something we did. Reached out to him. He reached out to us, and we're like, dude, we'll take care of that for you. And it's something that we try to help out with. The darkness, I think, reflects the time.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And we talked about something before, was like some of the skulls and things like that. I think it's a way for people to deal with death, to try to understand death. And I think a lot of people are, especially if you don't have Christ in your heart, are facing such daunting darkness right now.
Very, very true. Yeah.
And if you don't have, I don't know how you can not survive around these times without having the Spirit in your heart.
Yeah.
But we see that in different ways. And like I have one of the artists at my shop, she's a piercer. She wanted this nun holding a bat with like an upside down cross on the thing. And I was like, I'll do the nun, I'll do the bat, and that's fine. Yeah. But I'm flipping the cross up. Right. And she's like, oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah. I'm gonna flip it around. That's all I'm just saying, I'm just gonna flip it around. Yeah. Okay, no, it's okay. Yeah. And so again, as an artist, we have choice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not gonna, I have tattooed dark images before, but like, I think people know me where like people don't come to me to get like Satan tattooed on them or anything like that. Now, if I did that tattoo, I would be talking to them. And I would use that time to share a story with them. Because I think, again, like Jesus, I'm not comparing myself to Jesus in any way, shape, or form, but like Jesus, he would go with the prostitutes, with tax collectors, with the thieves, with all these people, because those are the people that really need it.
Yeah.
And to me, I've actually, I don't know if I told you this story before, but I wanted to get out of this industry because I got a letter one time. I got a letter, and it was from a Christian. He was saying, this is evil, blah, blah. I sent him a letter back. And I said, I honestly feel like God has put me in this position to do this. I feel like God gives me this opportunity to talk to these people, to share my faith, to share my gifts.
Yeah.
He never wrote me back. But I had a situation where one of my artists tried to kill himself. All right, and I had another artist that passed away, and I was having a hard time, and I was like, oh my God, dude, like, okay, are you telling me I shouldn't be doing this? Is this what you're telling me right now? And so I really took it on my heart, and I was thinking, and I told my wife, I think I'm gonna sell my business. I think I'm gonna get out of the business because I feel like all this darkness around me this is not what my gift should be around, And my wife's like, well, you do what you gotta do. The thing about my wife and my family is they're all very supportive of me. But I think they know where my heart is and how I'm guided. Yeah. So they're all very supportive. I get a phone call. As I'm saying, things that happen, I get a phone call from a friend of my mom's that was in the military together. And she tried to sell me prepaid legal insurance. I don't know if you heard about it, but prepaid legal insurance is like you pay a monthly subscription and you have access to lawyers or whatever.
Oh yeah, similar to, I think there's a company, Legal Shield.
Same thing, same exact thing, right?
Yeah.
But she's talking to me, and I said, look, I don't think I'm gonna need it. I'm gonna close my business down anyway. She goes, what, why? And I told her what's going on. Yeah. And she goes, Joey, you know what? I gotta tell you something, like, I've never told you this before, but you have so many gifts. And it's not just your art, it's not just the way you speak, but it's the way you carry yourself, it's the choices you make, it's all these things that these gifts that you were given. And I think you are in that place because you're the right person to be in that place.
Yeah.
That's why you're there.
Yeah.
And again, it was just like I tell people, like I feel like God speaks to us every day.
Yeah.
We just don't have a chance to listen a lot. Yeah. And sometimes, I honestly feel so blessed that I get hit with these. Yeah. And it hits me right in my heart. And it's like, I feel like I take it to where he wants me to interpret it, Yeah. And so again, it was like, boom, changed on a dime. I said, okay, no, I do need to be here. I do need to do this. And after that, I went to go see my buddy in the hospital, who was in the hospital at the time, and I was talking to him. And he had a bad addiction, so I ended up having to fire him a few months later, actually. But it was because he didn't want to give up his addiction, and we've actually talked since then, and he understands why I had to let him go and whatnot. But I do feel like I'm in the place that I'm in because my gifts have a tendency to help.
Yeah.
To really do help, and I think it allows me to use my art and my voice and my faith to help people that don't have that. I mean, I've been blessed with so much unconditional love from my grandmother to my mother to my father that I feel like, again, it's my responsibility to share those gifts, to share those blessings.
Yeah.
And so I people tell me all the time I'm too trusting. People tell me all the time I'm too open. I don't believe so.
No, because then you'd be living a lie.
Exactly.
So you can't live a lie. Then you wouldn't be living right for God.
Amen.
But I think in listening to that part of your testimony, let's just call it what it is, that testimony, God has put you in a place where, again, it came with a stigma of a lot of darkness, but you can be such a beacon of light. And God's proven it by how far you've been able to excel in this field. It's remarkable. So you touched on a point there that I wanted to bring up was, again, ministering to people once you have them as a quote unquote captive audience. So how does that go? How do you deal with somebody, maybe for someone else who's in a different field but has that opportunity and may be afraid to share? How do you deal with that? How do you go on your feelings, your sensitivity to the situation, or do you always make sure that you talk about your faith?
I really feel it out. You know what I mean? I feel it out with everybody, you know, and a lot of times when I feel like I need to, I try to bring it like to a story or something that's happened to me.
Yeah.
So I'm not like preaching to them like, hey, you need to do this.
Right.
You need it. You.
Right.
Because I feel like some people almost feel attacked.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some people feel like you're trying to push them into something. I don't like to do that. I like to kind of like, if you want to hear something, I could tell you something about what happened to me, and maybe this could help you. And because we all have very similar situations in this life. We all have the same needs, the same wants, which is why I don't understand why we're all still killing each other and hurting each other and stealing from each other and all this, because we all are just so similar.
Yeah, very true.
I don't care what country you're from.
Yeah.
I don't care how you were raised. We all need that love inside us. The Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
We need it. And whether you, and I do believe in Jesus, and I do believe in Jesus is God. I do believe in Jesus died for my sins, and that is the biggest gift that anybody can ever give to me, which is why I have so much gratitude. But that's why I also don't judge. So if you're Muslim, if you're Buddhist, if you're atheist, I don't judge you at all.
Yeah.
Because I know you're going to be forgiven. I'm forgiven.
Yeah.
I know you will be forgiven.
Yeah.
Well, you just got to ask.
Yeah.
You know, you just gotta, and that's the beauty of it. And I think some people get turned off by that because it's like too easy. That's too easy, man.
Well,
That's too easy,
we've
man.
conditioned ourselves, I think, as a society. I heard someone say in an interview series the other day that we are so conditioned to the war and the battle that if there is not a war or a battle or some kind of argument, then we feel, oh, this is odd. This is too peaceful. When in actual fact, at the beginning, God created it peaceful like that.
Amen.
So that's the actual truth that we're meant to be living. We're not supposed to be living in a constant turmoil.
No.
But that's what the media, everything, the music industry and everything, they love to perpetuate that. I had a guest in here the other day, Joey, B.K. Nicholson. He's a musician out here in the Fallbrook area. And interesting conversation we had, we were talking about the effects of music on plants. I'm not sure if you've seen those studies.
I've heard.
Where if you blast heavy metal at a plant, it just falls over and dies. You play some Beethoven, some Mozart, it thrives. So there you go. You're talking about this anger, this rage. It permeates and it affects the environment. So, but coming back to your story.
Absolutely.
About ministering to people, that's beautifully articulated. And I think a lot of people do need to hear that, especially when we're earlier on in our walk of faith. We often find the need to just talk about it to everybody. And like you said, sometimes, myself included, I've made that mistake in the past where I've come on too strong to share and it's pushed someone away. Not to say that God didn't use that and planted a seed.
Always does.
That may materialize 20 years down the line.
Always does.
But we mature as we grow. Any stories that you want to share in particular of anybody that maybe came to Christ through your sharing your testimony with them?
Well, I think like the people I work with, the people I work with, especially because I mean, some of the guys that I work with were very, very staunch atheists, very like, okay, like, no, this is that, this is this. And I wouldn't say, oh no, you're wrong. I would not. I just showed them. I just showed them how I feel, how I just shared.
Yeah.
And I try to live it in an example. And I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Nobody. But I try to think about how my actions affect you, how they affect others, because again, it's like we're all in this walk.
Yeah.
We're all on this walk, right?
Yeah.
And so the people that are around me, I feel like I've affected them more than anything. And some of the girls that work with me they still wear dark stuff, and I'll still tell them some things like they'll have like, one of them had like this. It's a devil tattoo. I told her, you got your devil tattoo. She goes, it's not the devil. It's just like it's like a demon.
Well,
and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, it's cool. I mean, I don't know why you want to be on the losing team, but I get it.
Yeah.
But
that's a good one.
And that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I mess with them and play with them a lot, but I also tell them like, don't worry, you're forgiven. Don't worry, it's not the big deal. He's not gonna worry about that.
Yeah.
He knows that came from a place that you needed to be. You know what I mean? And so again, I'll mess with them. I'll kind of tease, and that's kind of like how I like to teach. It's kind of like how I like to deal with my people too. Is humor.
Yeah.
Humor, I think, is a big part of it, and again, just I like to listen. So I'll ask them like, hey, how do you feel about X, Y, Z?
Yeah.
And then they'll tell me, or if I see like they're having a bad day, I'll be like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
And I think again, I do feel like that is the Holy Spirit helping me try to reach to them.
Yeah.
But I don't make that 100% apparent to them. I'm not like, oh, hey, God wants me to know how you're feeling today. It's just like, how are you feeling today?
Yeah.
Talk to me. What's up?
Yeah.
Or if they're having some problems, I'll reach out and be like, hey, well, let's talk. Hey, anytime you need to call, call me. Call me anytime.
Yeah.
And I think just being there and being that voice and being that example,
Yeah.
because they know my faith, because I share.
Yeah.
And then they see my actions, and then they see my behaviors, and they see the way I do it. And I think that speaks, I mean, obviously action speaks louder than words, And so that is, I feel like, the best thing. I mean, if you go to my station, I have a giant picture of Jesus behind me as well.
Yeah.
So
I remember. We caught that on the podcast. So
oh, that's right. Yeah.
I will put a link into that as well.
Right. So, I mean, and so everybody knows my faith.
Yeah.
Everybody knows. Again, I share. If you want to ask, I will tell you.
Yeah.
No shame in it. So, again, I just think that's really the most important thing, is just try to be, I don't want to say as godly as possible or as righteous as possible, but just try to walk in faith and have that faith to where it shows through your actions and through your life.
Yeah.
Not forcing it, but they see it, and it's not ignorable. You know what I mean? You can't help but notice it.
Right. There's something different there. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's the most important thing. I really do. And then if they ask, I'll tell them. Yeah. If they want to be baptized, I'll tell them where to go. If they want to have Jesus in their heart, I'll be right there and be like, all you got to do is accept him right now. Yeah. You just got to ask him.
Yeah.
You could be anywhere.
Yeah.
You could be anywhere right now and ask.
Yeah.
And I've had people where they'll like, all right, you want to pray? We'll pray. Yeah. And we'll pray right there. I've had people pray with me. Yeah. That I felt I was weak at the time, and they're like, "Well, can I pray for you right now?" And I'm just like, "Please, And she come, put their hand on my. It's a beautiful thing, man. Yeah. And again, like, it's a blessing.
Yeah,
like it's a blessing.
God can reach people wherever they are. That's something that people need to remember.
Yeah.
One thing I did want to ask you, Joey, because it's been on my mind as we were just speaking there, is about what it says in the Bible. Because I want to discuss that, because we've heard so many times from so many Christians that they say specifically you're not to be tattooed. So now you've cited a couple of places in the Bible that oppose what we just said there, or so share that with the audience here.
Well, that came out of Leviticus. Which Leviticus has many different things that it says. Have you read Leviticus?
I've read Leviticus, but again, I'm not a biblical scholar, so I'm not
Ditto.
one of those people.
No,
that
ditto.
could-
Ditto.
Yeah.
I can't quote it neither. I can't tell you it was actually this line or that line.
Yeah.
But the thing about Leviticus is it also tells you how to slaughter a pig and how to sprinkle the blood around the altar and how to do all these things. And these things we don't do anymore. And the reason we don't do these sacrifices anymore is because the ultimate sacrifice was given for us, right? So there's no reason to make these sacrifices anymore, okay? Yeah. Leviticus also talked about you shouldn't wear cotton and linen at the same time. Leviticus also talked about you shouldn't cut the sides of your hair as a male. You should wear a long head of hair. Leviticus says a lot of things like this that they don't even quote Leviticus anymore. As Catholics, I think they've even taken it out of the new Bibles because of the old ways. But it talked about specifically you shouldn't mark your body for the dead. And that particular line is talking about the worshipers of Baal.
Okay.
Who were like worshiping Baal back in the day. They were like actually Jewish people that were worshiping Baal, and they would cut their bodies and they would do blood sacrifice and things like that to get the power of this demon to help them deal with things.
Okay.
And so it's talking about that specifically. Whereas people, when it talks about marking your body, that's what people have brought it into tattooing because yes, we are marking our bodies, 100%. But I'm not marking my bodies to some deity. I'm not making a sacrificial blood offering to anybody. This is all my tattoos, except I have Jesus here, I have Jesus here, I have angels here, I have the Virgin Mary here, because my tattoos, I want to share my faith. I want it to be again like, if I'm taking my shirt off at the beach, you see my faith.
Yeah, you can see it clearly, evidently. There's no mistake.
There's no mistaking it.
Yeah.
And so I don't have tattoos that are like, I don't have like naked chicks or, dragons or, I'm actually really like dragons. Like I probably could do a dragon. I think dragons are cool. But you know what I mean? Like my stuff specifically, I don't idolize my tattoos. Right. I don't say like, oh, this tattoo right here, Well, this one in particular, it's Jesus. So I do kind of, but it's not the tattoo.
Right.
It's not the tattoo. The tattoo is just ink and a drawing.
It's the emotion, it's the motivation behind it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And again, it's just a part of sharing it for me, But I tell people too, like, don't idolize your tattoo. Don't think that this tattoo is so important to me, this or that, or this tattoo means this, or check out. Like, no, a tattoo is a marking on your body. Definitely to help beautify you, definitely to help, strengthen you, definitely to help share your culture, definitely to help get you through something you're going through 100%.
Yeah.
But don't get it twisted. Don't be like, oh yeah, well this tattoo, this means this, and this is so powerful to me. Like, it's just drawings. It's just ink. It's just people sharing their gift with you, which is cool. And thank you so much for supporting us to share your gifts with you as a collector.
Yeah.
That's what we call our clients, collectors because they collected the artwork.
But Joey, I've got to ask you another question as you're talking there, because I've seen several programs. I did a little bit of research a few weeks ago. Now, the people that have tattooed their entire face, let's talk about that. Because do you think that, and I've got to ask you in your, has anyone ever come in like this? There comes a fine line between tattooing and then obsession. And it crosses over into that point.
100%.
How do you, let's say someone comes in and you can see that they've already got the arms and they're starting to go up here now, and then they say to you, I want something. Is there a limit is there a line where you start to say, okay, that's your face, that's your, or do you try and walk them away from that?
Every time.
Okay.
So that is a thing. The people are doing their faces now. A lot of these like hip hop artists and these new artists are going right to their face. We always try to steer people away from your face.
Okay.
Mainly because that is one, it's an identifiable mark. So it's like you have something on your face, everybody's gonna always be able to recognize who you are. Yeah. Two, you're not gonna be able to get a job. I hope you have a good job that they don't care about that, and this is something that you're gonna do for the rest of your life. Like I educate you. Yeah. If you say, I wanna do my face, I say, okay, what do you do for a living? Yeah. Okay. If I wanted to do my face, more acceptable. I'm a tattooer. This is what I do. Yeah. When I see tattooers with it, I get it. Okay. It's also advertising for your business. I get it. Yeah. But some people are going way overboard. I mean, see people, and they do. think there's been a full-on study, but they say a lot of people that do that with their face are having like some mental issues, because they're definitely looking for something or to cover something that they're obviously dealing with in a bad way. But the thing is, you should definitely go to a professional and try to deal with that, because once you do that to your face, it's hard to take off.
Yeah,
it's hard to take off.
Yeah.
You know, I had this one guy come in. He wanted chaotic neutral on his face, and he didn't have any other tattoos. And I'm like, dude, look, you need other tattoos, bro. You need to get your arms. You need to do this. You need to do that. He's like, well, I really want to get it. I'm like, look, bro, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to do you a favor here. I'm not gonna do it because, look, you're young. I don't know what you're gonna do for a living. Right? He goes, well, I work for my dad's law firm. And I'm like, you work for your dad's law firm?
Yeah.
And you think Pops isn't gonna care that you got that?
Yeah.
Nah, he's gonna be good with it. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, man, I don't feel comfortable doing it. He's like, dude, I'll give you $500 right now. And I'm like, I just look. I don't feel comfortable doing it. I don't think you should get it. And right as I'm talking to this guy, some man walks in the shop, like pulls the door open.
Yeah.
It's his kid's dad.
Oh, there you go.
And his dad's like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, well, I'm good. And you could see that it was like a rebelling thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
He wanted to do it to upset Pops.
Yeah.
Luckily, Pops got there. I wasn't going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
But luckily, Pops got there. And it's like, that's not the answer.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not the answer to, you're dealing with a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Right. And
type of deal.
you can't wear a T-shirt on your face. So,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not gonna. Yeah, and I was thinking that as I was watching these people and I was listening to their story, I was definitely seeing that there was some mental anguish going on, because there's no way that, now I understand, obviously we see the art and the technique in the things on the arms and also the chest and things of that area, but sometimes the leg, especially, even, a lower leg for women and whatnot. But once you start messing with the face, like you said, that's distinguishable. That's you. That's your face.
Your face.
And people are looking at that as you're communicating. It's a bit different. I can glance at your arms there, but I'm talking to you now. I want to be able to see the person right there.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is. It's very. But I'd never seen anything like that until I watched this show, and I was like, my gosh, these people's faces are completely gone. They have to paint themselves with like skin textured paint
To make it look like it's
to look like a normal, like a normal face again.
Yeah. And who wants to deal with that?
No, I know exactly.
But I mean, there are certain groups of people,
yeah.
gangs, things like that need that there to identify themselves. You'll see guys with their like I could identify those tattoos. Like again, I don't know gang tattoo, but I know what a gang tattoo is. I know what a prison tattoo is. I know the difference between a prison tattoo and a professional tattoo.
Yeah.
I know those things. And those guys, I mean, obviously it's an intimidation thing.
Yeah.
Obviously it's like they want to show that they're down and they're not scared. And I get that. You're dealing with that life.
Yeah.
But a lot of those guys, when they come out, one of the first things they do is they either try to get it covered up or they try to get it removed.
Yeah.
And again, temporary solution. It's like, dude, don't do it.
Yeah.
I really I really am trying to get into the removal business.
Oh yeah.
Because I feel like all these guys getting the stuff on their face, the removal business is just going to be booming in a few years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
well, especially
trying to
after the
visualize opopportunities.
Yeah, especially after the influx of everybody getting tattoos now. Yeah. I've never seen so many people with tattoos in my life. But yeah, Joey, I know we've taken up a lot of time today already. It's fantastic. I think we've got plenty more to discuss. And for those of you who do want to find out more, there'll be links in the description of this video, because, like I said, I will be in attendance at the InkCon convention. I will have my podcast there. Of course, Joey is a proud sponsor of our podcast, Victoire, which means victory in French. But we'll also be capturing some footage for Village and Valley News here. So, Joey, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you today. Thank you so much for coming into the studio. You've got a wealth of knowledge, and I truly do believe that God has you exactly where you need to be, and that you're making a tremendous difference in the lives of these individuals. So once again, I'm going to let you know, the InkCon convention from the Trusted Tattoo Company and the Body Art Bus, Mr. Joey Chavez, it will be June 28, 29, and 30 at the Ontario Convention Center. And Joey, again, please let them know how they can get their tickets.
Yes, please. You could go to ink-convention.com right now and buy your tickets online, or again, you could go to Groupon and get your discount. So we do appreciate the support, and again, we're going to have some of the best artists in California. So if you're itching to get a tattoo, or if you want to give that permanent graduation present that all these kids are graduating from college and high school right now. Come get a tattoo by the best.
Yes, indeed. Well, thank you, Joey. God bless you, sir.
Amen. God
Thank
bless
you
you
for
too.
coming in
Thank
today.
you.
And we will see you all next time.